We're going to look at some of the obvious features of the engine. We'll walk around the engine, show you where a lot of the apparatus is located, where a lot of the discharges for water are located. But starting here on the front, one thing we did with this truck, we built this bumper in the shop with the idea of being able to mount a winch on it. There's a 12,000 pound winch here mounted in the front bumper. And also we have sweep nozzles on the front, which are controlled by up on the deck at the pump panel. But these sweep nozzles have electric valves on them. They can be turned on by a switch, and the way they're designed is to be able to run alongside a fire line and spray water on a fire line without having to get off the truck. Now we will show you later on how we enhance the use of these sweep nozzles by our whip lines up on the deck. The whole bumper was designed, of course, to take some abuse because we get in off-road conditions, out in wildland conditions. You may be running into some brush, etc. So we did need to protect the front of the truck. One nice thing about the cab of this truck, if you're driving the truck or you're riding in the cab, you have tremendous visibility in this truck because of the large windshield. We're going to walk on around on the passenger side of the truck, and I'll point out some features around here. If we move back just a little bit, we have a toolbox here on the side. In this toolbox we have the control for the winch and some anchors, and also a handle to manually raise the cab. The cab is raised hydraulically, and here's the hydraulic pump for that. In this toolbox we carry a 2800 watt generator. We have an extension cord in that, an electrical cord, in case we need work lights on a fire. If we're in a structure fire, we may need work lights, so we need the capability of lighting up a scene. One thing we haven't done yet, we haven't put the actual lights in here with this, but they will all go in this particular container. As we move on back, it's obvious this is a fuel tank. Normally if you're fueling this truck up, you'll want to open this gate so you can easily get to the fill nozzle. As we move on back, we see we have a fire extinguisher mounted here. Also, here is a 2.5 inch outlet. This is connected to the pump. There's a main valve up on top that charges this outlet. There's another outlet on the other side just like it. But these can be used for connecting up auxiliary lines to fight fire. They can have valves put on them to reduce them down to 1.5 inch lines. But it gives us an outlet on both sides to deliver water to either other trucks or deliver it straight to the fire. This is a compartment here with a 5-gallon water cooler in it. Normally what we do, carry bottled water, set it down in there and just cover it with ice. All of these compartments on this side were designed for hand tools for fighting fire. The reason that we have the expanded metal doors on them is because these are the tools you normally get ash and soot all over. You may put them up wet. They're going to be dirty and stinky, so we thought we needed to be able to get air circulation into these compartments. You have a gas can here to carry gas for both the generator that we just looked at, and there's also a transfer pump on the other side that we'll point out when we get over on that side. You have a drip torch here to use in wildland firefighting, to do back burns, etc. I'm not going to point out all of the different tools here, but they're the same as we normally carry on our brush trucks and some of our other trucks. Come on back to this back department. You have a compartment. You have several rows of hose stored in here. Normally this is a hose that we'd use to pull off of our side discharges, etc. I think there's about 3 or 4 rows of 2.5-inch hose and several rows of 1.5 inch. If you look at the whole side of the truck, you'll see there's a work light up here. These lights are controlled by the pump panel. They light up the work area around the truck. We get called out a lot at night, and one of the things that we never have enough of is light. Also, you have 3 strobe lights on the side, or emergency lights. There's one up here on the fender, one here on the back in the center, and one here on the back of the truck. And also there's another strobe up here on the side. You can't see it, but that, on the other side of that upper part where you have the aluminum diamond plate, there are bins up there that have holes. You can see the ladder stored in there. We're going to move around to the back of the truck and take a look at it, point out the features of it. As I mentioned, you can see the 14-foot roof ladder sticking out the back, and there's about probably 400 to 500 feet of 2.5-inch supply line ripped in those bins up there. Also, here in one of the center bins, you have some pike poles and other tools that will be used in structure fires. Starting up the top of the truck, you can see there's another work light up here. It comes on at the same time the ones on the sides. And then you have 150 feet of red line here. This is 1-inch red line. This is a bigger red line than you have on your brush trucks. It's all 3/4. You have your spanner wrenches and your hydrant wrench here on the side, and then excuse me, on the lower part there'll be instances where you have to crawl up on the back of this truck. So we put grab bars on the back so you can get up on the truck. Also, there's 2 fold down steps that you can fold out here on the back and crawl up on the truck. We also left the pintle hitch on this. This hitch was already on the truck. This hitch will be handy if we need to pull another truck out that's stuck or anything like that. We do carry chains and tow straps on this truck, so it can be very valuable because of its size and power and the nature that it's a 6-wheel drive. It can be utilized to tow other trucks if need be. The way we fill the tank on this truck is through this inlet right here. Now there is a handle here. This is our fill spot. We simply hook a 2.5-inch hose up to it, pull this handle out and open it, and you fill the truck through this. There is a tank gauge here that will indicate how much water you have in your tank as you're filling it. So you need to keep that in mind. And then here on the lower part you have 2 more strobe lights in addition to your brake lights and backup lights. Also up here you can't see it, but there is a backup warning beeper up there. Okay, as we move on around on the driver's side of the truck, we have 2 pre-connected 1.5-inch lines up here. The blue line is 200 feet. The red line is 150 feet. And we'll get into some demonstration video a little later on to show you how to pull those lines off. but this is where they're located. This is where they're stored. Right beneath this, I mentioned that we do carry chains and a tow strap on this, so that if we do have to give aid to another truck, and it's not unusual you get in wildland firefighting that you have a truck stuck or can't move, and we do have kind of a light duty chain, a heavy duty chain, and then a 30-foot 10,000-pound tow strap. In our other storage bins here, as we look at those, occasionally, and we have had instances here in the last couple of years where we were called out on nights when we had heavy rains and we had the possibility of floods. We do carry life jackets on this unit, because this, with the clearance that this unit has and the 6-wheel drive, this is logically the truck that you'd use to go out on those nights. We do carry life jackets. This will be hand tools here. This is a portable saw you would use in structure situations to cut through doors, masonry, etc. Look in this cabinet. There are 4 SCBA units in here, air packs. This is where they will be carried. I don't think we have any extra bottles in there now, but this will carry, in brackets, 4 complete units. Here's your other 2.5-inch outlet from side outlet. We talked about the one on the other side. Each of these have individual valves, but the supply to these is controlled by a main valve up on the pump panel. Here's your gate on the driver's side. This is just like the one on the other side. Your battery box here. One thing I do need to point out here on this truck, there's a power disconnect switch right in under here. When you get in this truck to start it, or you get ready to start it, you have to turn the power back on. This is similar to the one we have on 1504, the tanker tender. This compartment has our transfer pump. This pump is identical to the one on 1504. It can be used to pump water out of a drop tank, or pump out of the lake or a pond or anything. It'll pump at about 200 gallons per minute. I showed you on the other side where our fuel can is for this pump and for the generator. Up here in the top is a bin for valves and fittings. These are 2.5 and 1.5-inch valves. If we need to utilize one of these side discharges and cut down to 1.5-inch hose or 2.5-inch hoses, we can simply screw this valve on that outlet. This panel up here, normally you won't be doing anything behind it, but behind this panel is a dipstick for the oil stick for the engine, and also the dipstick for the transmission. And this is also your reservoir for the radiator for the engine, and it'd be the place where you'd put coolant in it if you needed to put coolant in it. It's simply opened by unscrewing this screw right here, and it just swings out. That is a basic overlook or side look of the truck, just walking around it, telling you about the features on it. We will get up on the deck and talk about the pump panel, show you what all is involved in that, and then later we'll get up in the cab and show you some of the features of the cab.